And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a small little game called Mint Cooperative. Now this is the third in the Mint series of games, which all come in a little tin that's supposed to look like mint, and minty fresh. In fact, they have little white discs in all of them that look like mints. It's a cute little thing. The very first game in this series, Mint Works I really liked. Mint Delivery I found to be okay. So now we're taking a look at the third one here, which is a cooperative game in which you're all working together to stop the evil denizens of Mint City. You're fighting against periodontal peril. Let me show you. In this game, players have a city here, which they are trying to stop plague from happening and reduce panic. And you have a panic symbol here, and if it gets to the end, players will lose. Each player is going to pick a character, like the Fantastic Freshman or Liberty Licorice. You'll take the matching person. You're going to put your special ability in front of you, and then put your person on the color city that matches you. You're actually going to set the city up. This kind of shows you how the map of the city is supposed to be laid out. You're also going to be picking a villain. This is the basic villain, Nicotine, who has no additional setup. So once we do the setup, we'll turn him over to show what happens when trouble occurs. But there are other ones that you can play with. For example, we have Gingivitis, we have Placula, we have Sir Halitosis, and Gorelick. All right, so each of these, they show kind of how difficult they are, the extra setup that they have, and then what happens in trouble on the back. And also has their weakness on the back. Now, in each round of the game, someone's going to roll the 4 dice here. Now, after round 1, in round 1 we don't worry about trouble, but after round 1 we see if there's trouble. And trouble happens when you roll a double or triple. This is a double here, double sixes. Now if all your dice are 3 and below, which are white numbers here in the dice to help you remember that, nothing happens, even if you roll doubles. But in this case, I rolled double sixes, which is trouble. Now, if I rolled 2 pairs of doubles or 3 of the same number, that'd be more problematic. But I'm just going to look here at the bad guy's card here, and it shows that when I roll 1 double, I'm resolving 1 trouble card. You have a deck of trouble cards, and so this, for example, I would turn this over, and it would show me that in these 2 cities here, I'm going to remove a mint, and in these 2 cities here, I'm going to remove a mint. So each one here, the red ones are where it's going to happen, and that shows you how many mints you're going to remove. Now, when you do this, you are going to reveal some of these hazardous symbol signs. If you reveal any, then this is going to move up equal to the total of all the hazardous symbol signs. And if anyone's ever at 0, it just happens every single time. So you don't want cities to run out of mints. There's also mayhem cards, and these are shuffled into the deck in various spots. And when these shows up, you're going to be adding to all the different cities. If you make it through all the mayhem cards, you win the game. After the dice are rolled and you resolve trouble, then players in turn order are going to start using the dice. And when you're down to 1 die left, you'll re-roll them all and go again. So it's possible, depending on the number of players, different dice will be rolled different times. When you take a die, you can do whatever the die says here. That's one of the actions you can take. So for example, you can mint 1 or mint 2. That simply adds 1 or 2 mints to a location that you're in. So the blue player here, Peppermint Pizzazz, could add 2 to this city. You can't make it go more than it would normally have, but you're going to want to add those. Run and mint 1, a number 3, simply lets you move and then add a mint to a spot. Then number 4, fly, that means you can go anywhere, and reduce the panic 3. And the panic is up here. Of course, you want to make panic go down because the trouble cards are going to make it go up. 5 is a heroic feat. When you use a 5, you are going to pick your heroic feat that you have. So, for example, Peppermint Pizzazz can add 4 mints to any combination of your current and adjacent towns. The Super Spear says in either order you may fly to another town and activate the villain's special effect. By the way, the villain's special effect is done by 6, exploiting the villain's weakness. In which case, with Nicotine here, it's Cold Turkey, reduce regional panic by 3. Or maybe in this one, defuse a bomb. Swap a red mint from your current town with a white mint from the supply. If you did, reduce regional panic by 2. So this guy is going to be putting red mints out as bombs. That's Sir Halitosis. There are also stunt cards that are given to the first 3 players each round, and you can use a stunt card if you have one. These are going to be constantly shuffled and handed out to do something like this. Reduce regional panic by 7, but you need a 5 to do it. Or here, use any player's heroic feat, including your own. Well, that's pretty cool, and I use a 3 to do that rather than the 5 that you would normally do. So you're just going to constantly be doing this back and forth. You're going to be moving around town, adding mints, and then every once in a while when you roll poorly, you're going to be adding trouble. If this token ever gets to the end, the players lose. If you survive through the trouble deck without that happening, then players win. There are ways that you can make it more difficult or make it simpler, and there's a slight 1 to 2 player variant that you'll play things a little bit differently, but that's how you play. As with all these games, I like all the little mints, and when you mix it together inside the tin, yeah, they look like mints. I like that concept. Everything fits pretty tightly in here, but hey, it's a small package. The card quality is very good, linen finish, and the cities look pretty nice. You know, which side do you want to play on? The easier side or the more difficult side that has more hazard symbols on it. The characters are cool. Now, one thing that's interesting is they only printed on one side, but I actually like using the side that's not printed on because they're easier to see on the board. So it's a pretty good production. I mean, it could have maybe used more cards, but it's what can fit in the container. I particularly thought the dice were clever because having the 1s, 2s, and 3s, the white, in white makes, if you roll blacks, there's danger. If it's only white numbers, even if you get doubles, you're fine. So that's a nice, simple, easy system to understand. Overall, I'm very impressed with the components in this small container. Okay, so this is not a grandiose cooperative game. You say, Tom, are there a lot of better cooperative games than this one? Sure, I can list you 10 right now. But I still like this one because in this one, the size of the game really matters. This is a simple, light, fun cooperative game. There's a few minor things I'll mention in a second, but I like it, and it fits in a small container and easy to carry around, and it's fast. They called this a filler cooperative game, a game in which you play between other games. You fill the time in with them. So I like that aspect of it. I like that there is multiple bad guys. They all act somewhat different. Now, a few minor things. There's luck. It's going to be the luck of the dice. You can have some games, and I played some games where very few little troubles showed up because you just didn't roll many doubles or triples. They're very easy to beat. And then there's the opposite. But the cards where you're constantly dealing out the special cards that you give at each round. I want to call them trick cards. It's the stunt cards. Stunt's such an odd word. It doesn't seem to fit the superhero thing. But these stunt cards, you deal them out every round. I found that to be the slightest bit fiddly. Now, the actual aspects of the trouble cards and the adding mint tokens to different areas of the map, that part I really liked. I think this game does a good job at having a simple thing. Don't let those fill up or empty out, because if they empty out, you're just going to get nailed with more regional panic. So it's, do I want to fill it up all the way? Do I want them filled down? And also, each of these cities here has a backside to it, which is more difficult than the front side because there's more of those hazard symbols to them. The gameplay is pretty simple. You roll the dice, you pick one of the dice, players will talk it through and say, oh, leave the 5 for me, because my special power will work well here. This is the die that I want to work with. This is the thing that's going to help me out a lot. And so because of that, because there's that interaction, I think that works well. It's not too much. There's not too much going on, but again, the game is coming in a really small package here. So good quality, especially for its size. Nice packaging. The theme, I don't mind a theme either. You're fighting halitosis and nicotine. You know, that's a fun theme. It's very minor, that theme in there, but it's also a simple game. This is along the lines of entry-level cooperative games like Forbidden Island and other things like that. And so to that end, I think this is fantastic. Again, I'm not picking this over Pandemic or other games, but this isn't even aspiring to that. This is aspiring to be a small little cooperative game that you can quick pull out anywhere. You almost could play this in an airplane, a tray, or maybe a small little card game. It's a very portable game, but I think the size to game packs a nice little punch. I don't like this as much as the first one in the series, Mint Works, but this is a close second. A very good little game, Mint Cooperative. Dice Tower Judgment approved.